Well, I'll connect my final thought with my final slide. Usually when I finish my presentations, I always say the question that I leave you is not if this technology is going to be available, but when. And today actually is the first time that I changed it. And it's not if or when it will happen, because we already have these technologies, is whether we're going to be ready or not. And so to echo on something that others said as well, is that I think we need to consider if we are ready now.
Indeed, it's exciting time to invest and to follow neurotechnologies, because a lot of the research that has been done into laboratories, as Nick mentioned and others, is now ready to go outside of the lab. And also there's a maturation of technology. It's easier to have access to chipset and electrodes and electronic material to be able to develop your ideas, because like 10 years ago, you needed 2-3 years and a lot of investment just to get to the point where you could start your idea. And right now the technology is more mature. And so I think we will see a lot of things moving. Some of the ideas will happen to be not so good applications of neurotechnology, and we'll just drop that. And others.
The fact that these types of conferences are becoming more abundant is really a sign that this is a great time to be in neurotech. There's a lot more companies, a lot more university programs, a lot more graduates, a lot more investment being happened in the field. So it's a great time to think that even my parents and grandparents could have some beneficial technology working to prolong a high quality life, and not just a longer life. So I wanted, in that respect, to say thanks to you, Nuno, and all the organizers for the event. I think it's a really important thing that we're participating in.
Echo what Peter said, basically, which is that, for a long time, a lot of these technologies have been in the lab. And I think what we're going to hit now is this period of translation, which again corresponds to Brain Initiative. They're not all responsible for it, but it feels pretty good for them, I'm sure, where all these technologies are going to really kind of come onto market and come into translation. And I think the most exciting thing about that is not even just this first wave. It's like the wave after that, because we're going to move from having like epilepsy patients with electrodes in, briefly, and like some of the Utah Array BCI participants, to suddenly having higher density neural recording interfaces in like thousands and thousands, or hundreds of thousands of patients over the next 20 years. And to think what that could do to our understanding of the brain or allow us to develop next level therapies is just, I think that's the mind-blowing part.
It's a very exciting time in neurotech. I think if you cast your mind 10 years into the future, what would you say about this phase? Prior to the last year or two, real applications have been very much research lab only, as far as I know. I could be missing some great contributions that are out there that I'm not aware of, but there's a general awareness, if nothing else, that is growing, that the idea of interfacing to the neural system is something that's desirable, and more applications are showing how it could be done, and more decodings, whether it's of simple brainwaves or more advanced in the future. We hope for things where we actually crack a neural code and work it all the way down to individual neural computations, and obviously the implants are coming. And I think there's a general acceptance of this, and what's also encouraging is, everything from the ethics discussions have already started to the applications, et cetera, and a real huge focus on augmentative for disabilities and things. So I think it's 10 years from now, we'll look back at this being the beginning, I think, of that curve up, where it really starts to become real in the minds of the public, and the early adopters and the technologies are getting there. So I look forward very, very excitedly to the next sort of 5-year period as a lot of these opportunities become extremely real.